Hi traders, and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Watch on Friday the 15th of November. So I've seen some really big moves this week, which is a bit of a continuation on the after election results, and we'll jump straight into the charts right now and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. All right, we'll start out here with the Aussie USD, and we can see that we've had a massive sell-off for the rest of the week. Basically, the whole week has been in a downward trend, and it paused only very briefly at the level that we set for it last week, which was around that 65-cent mark. A very brief touch, and then a continued sell-off. Now, look, it's fast approaching very strong resistance down here. This was very strong at 65, don't worry, but now it's starting to go into a bit of a last line of defense kind of mode, which is effectively what this level here is at around that sort of 64. If we get a break through there, there's a very real possibility that we could find ourselves back in, I'm looking, you've got to go right out to actually see it, but around that sort of 63.50 mark, which is around this area here, where we've seen a lot of previous support and resistance at that point. So around that sort of 63.60 is a very heavy level, and it's hard to imagine that it could actually get there so quickly, but it certainly has. Look, when we go to a smaller time frame, we've got to zoom it right out, but this level here doesn't look like it really paused there for very long, and if you weren't right onto it, you would have pretty much missed it, but you've got to go to a very small time frame to probably appreciate it. And we'll just reset the chart there, and as you can see, it basically broke. It was coming down in a pretty orderly fashion. The good thing about it is it has certainly come down in a very orderly fashion from a technical analysis standpoint. Lower high and lower lows all the way down, all the things that we talk about each week, breaks that level, comes up and tests it from below, which is what we're always looking for, 20 moving average, and then down she goes. Now look, it's trying to find a bit of a rally point from this zone around here, so I'm not really surprised that it's trying to stop here, but the dollar index has been very strong, and we'll look at that in a moment. But look, it's been there's definitely support here at around that sort of 64.50 area. It's trying to rally off this zone. You can see we've got touches right through here, and also at this point here. If it doesn't hold there, I think that we've probably got another 120 pips on the way down before it really finds support at 63, sort of 60-ish. So very important zone for it. Look for a potential reversal. If we see a series of higher highs and higher lows on a smaller time frame, I'd start looking for that 65-cent mark as the target. So it's only a handful of pips. We're only scalping it. It's only about 40 pips from where it is now, but a reasonable trade if we start to see a series of higher highs and higher lows. Failing that, a break below 64.50 on a daily, if that's what we're trading on Monday, I'd be starting to look for that sort of 70 to 80 point move down to around that 63.60, which is a big move, but it's certainly coming down in a very big hurry. The US dollar CAD is the opposite. Obviously, it's just been powering on. You can see that it's had a massive move up. It's broken through the 140 target. You can see it took out everything, basically. It's been very strong. The whole week has been very powerful. It's starting to approach a level. You've got to go a long way out now just to find resistance for it. And yeah, realistically, it's this zone here around that sort of 141. Difficult to really say where it might stop. I would be very inclined not to try and reverse this. I would let it play out. It's a little bit like the Aussie in a sense on how quickly it's coming down. This one's going up at the rate of knots, and I would more than likely just leave this one alone and let it play out. It'll tell us when it's time to trade it. Yeah, hopefully you're able to get involved in that long off the 20 moving average. You know, look, it took out, 140 was the target anyway, so really you probably should be out by now. Whatever it does from here, well, we'll just soon see, but very difficult to trade. But I would suggest not trying to reverse this trend because it's been very strong, and it could easily have another 50 to 100 pips before it even finds resistance. So really good trading on the CAD. US dollar yen has been a powerhouse. Again, it's just played the game beautifully. That bounce off the 20 moving average was just lovely. Another pullback there, and then off it went. Look, it's got resistance at around this zone here, around that sort of 157.20. That is probably the area that I would be expecting to find a little bit more resistance for this one. It's still probably 100 pips away from where we are now. So if we see a series of lower highs and lower lows continuing on the smaller time frame, so you go to a 15-minute chart, and If you can see, as you can see, it's going up in a very orderly fashion, very, very easy to trade. If this continues and you trade it off that 20 moving average bounce, just continue on. I'd be looking for targets around that 157.50, but it's been very, very good trading on the yen. Another one that I wouldn't be that keen on reversing right now. I'd be leaving this one alone and only trading it in the direction of this powerful trend that is picking up momentum and really pushing on. The dollar index is telling a very important story. We'll see that in a second, but yeah, expect to find probably a little bit of resistance around that sort of 157.50 to 157.80 area on the yen. All right, dollar index, and look, yeah, obviously absolute powerhouse of a move. Since the election, it's done nothing but go up, and you can see that every candle is basically not losing any momentum whatsoever. It's approaching a very, very heavy resistance zone right now around that sort of 1.7 area. You can see here we had big reversals. We had a very powerful move up to that level there before it sold off. It did test it twice. And you got to go right out to probably appreciate how much, resistance there actually is here. You can see right through there as well. And there was support around this level. 107.20 is a very, very strong level. Whether it's enough to hold up this momentum, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't be in a big hurry to reverse this one either. But that is where we're probably going to find a bit of a stumbling block for this effectively powerhouse move. The wave is nearly complete in terms of length. You can see that length there is almost at this length here. And by the time it reaches that sort of 107, that's more than likely going to be the case. So look, the euro is probably the one you want to be looking at trading, obviously, but this is why we're having so many big moves on the CAD and the Aussie dollar and the US dollar yen, of course. The US dollar strength has been extraordinary. On the Euro USD, you can see that we've been absolutely getting smashed on the move down. It's very, very heavily guarded around this sort of 105 level, though. Just be mindful of that. You can see here that reversed a very, very aggressive downtrend last time, and then it picked up and basically picked up the momentum and completely reversed it. This is more than likely the last stop for it. If it gets past here, very likely that we might go back down to around that 102. But yeah, we don't want to be predicting that just yet. We want to see if it gives a little bit of a yelp at this point. If it is going to stop, the 105 level is pretty much the last line of defense for it. After that, as you can see, there's quite a big fall. You gotta go I've got to put a horizontal line there for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Obviously, very heavy support around that level there, very heavy support there, and again there. And if you go back there, you'll see it right through. Okay, so this is why this level is so important. It's taken everything before it so far, but if we get a break past this level and the daily close is trading underneath that 104.80 area, start looking for moves back down to around that 103 in the first instance on the euro. So another potential big move, but this is a very key zone for it. Look for potential reversals here. And if we do get a bit of a reversal, look for moves maybe back up to around that sort of 106.20 in the first instance. That might be the scalping trade that you're looking for to pick up a little bit of reverse momentum. But yeah, very, very heavily guarded area this. So it'll be interesting to see if it can keep its head above water, especially early next week. And finally, the S&P 500. Look, it's been a little bit subdued this week. We can see the moves have been a little bit more on the negative side. Not massive drops. Like, we're only talking a handful of points, really. Like, 70 points over a week is not a great deal after such a big move up. And it's approaching that sort of 58.80 area, which I think is pretty strong. You got a fair bit of resistance there when it was first trying to break through. That could act as support for us. If we get a bit of a reversal around this point here, we might see a bit of a bounce up, especially if it gets there relatively quickly, because the 20 moving average is there to help support it as well. So that could be a nice little trade if we get there. Look for a series of higher highs and higher lows at that point, and then we can aim for the previous high as the target for that one. So pretty good trading on that one. But again, it's been pretty slow, really. So just keep an eye on this level here around that sort of 58.80. If it gets there, look for a potential reversal. But of course, if the daily breaks through that point and starts to push down, then it's starting to open up those areas around that 57.50 again. So trade this one with caution and just keep it a very close eye on that 58.80 level, because that would be the key turnaround point if we're going to find support. So pretty good trading there, and the target will be basically the previous high, which is around that 6,000. Okay, I hope you've had a great week's trading. Look, we've seen some really, really big moves on all the things that we talk about. Hopefully you're able to take advantage of some of those, but they are at key resistance and support in nearly everything that we've looked at today. So just be mindful of that before you place your trades. And we are still in scalp mode at the moment. moment. So just, keep your trades relatively short and your stop losses very sensible. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all next week.